YouTube video, wherever you are, whatever you may be doing. Thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate if you jump on here live here on this Saturday evening. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Make sure to give the video a like, a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so and share the video on all social media platforms. And give me 1 second to go turn this radio down before YouTube gives me a copyright warning. All right, sorry about that. Now let's go ahead and get into the purpose of tonight's video, which is something I do every year, and I always start around this time of the year, and that is early looks at the upcoming college football season. Now, these things are always fun, but they're always hard because no matter how much you know about a sport, you truly don't know. Hey there, Marcus. Glad to have you tuned in on this Saturday evening. Thank you so much for stopping by because no matter how much you know about a sport, there's always something you don't expect happening to happen. And that's why I've always said I don't get people that bet on sports because you just never know. And I'd rather keep my $5 than take a chance of having $0 or being in the hole. So I've never understood the logic behind folks that bet on sports. But anyway, these early season predictions are always fun. They're always hard because anything can happen in the next 5.5 months before the season starts. But they're even harder now because of the whole transfer portal NIL thing. You look at somebody's roster in the middle of March, and it might be completely different come September. And even if it doesn't change much between now and September, now these kids leave in the middle of a season. So you're liable to have a running back that you think is going to be your starting running back, and you start the season and he only gets the ball 10 times a game, or he gets mad, and by game 3 or 4, he's transferring. Hey there, Dino. Glad to have you here. Hey there, 9944. Glad to have you here. But I'm going to go ahead and get into, hey there, Ashley. Glad to have you back here on the channel. Ashley, this past Wednesday, my top 10 countdown was actually top 10 country songs from the 80s. And I told everybody in the video that because I did a requested top 10 countdown on country music songs from the 90s for Ashley, I would just go ahead and go back a decade earlier and do top 10 songs from the 80s. Hey there, Liam. Glad to have you here. And Dino said, guess what? Well, hopefully it's nothing bad, Dino. But I'm going to start my early season prediction videos this year with, I want to say it was the same team I started with last year. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. And Jesus loves you as well. Dino, thank you for chiming in. I always appreciate the comments. But I'm starting with LSU. And last year it was a random thing. When I start these videos, I never go alphabetically. I never go by conference. I never go regionally. It's just whoever's on my mind that day. And last year, I want to say it was LSU because it was just LSU. But this year, there's actually a reason for it. A lot of people are thinking they're going to be a top 5 or top 10 team now with Lane Kiffin being their head coach. And of course, they opened the season with Clemson. So I thought, you know what? Let's just go ahead and start with LSU. Now, we know for sure that unless he gets injured or hurt, that Arizona State transfer quarterback Sam Levitt is going to be the quarterback. I don't think there's any danger of him transferring. But outside of him, it could be anyone's guess. Now, the last couple of years, a lot of these teams have had 2 bye weeks. But this year, the season is not starting until the first Saturday in September, whereas the first couple of years, last year and year before that, it was starting in the last Saturday of August, unless you were one of those teams that played week 0, then you played in mid-August. But this year it's all back to normal. We kick off first week in September, so every team only gets one bye week. But LSU, as I said, opens up with Clemson. Now, don't forget, this year the SEC has gone to 9 conference games, so only 3 non-conference games. LSU opens with Clemson. Yo Kyra, hopefully I said that correctly. If not, I apologize. But nevertheless, needless to say, thank you for checking in. I think it's your first time here in the comment section. If it is your first time being here, for whatever reason made you stop by the channel tonight, thank you very much. Feel free to give the video a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed. But after Clemson, they play Louisiana Tech on September the 12th. And the Clemson game, if I didn't say, is on September the 5th. Then they play Ole Miss on September 19th. And then Texas A&M wraps up the month of September on the 26th. Open up the month of October on October the 3rd with their third and final non-conference games against McNeese State. Then on October the 10th, they play Kentucky. October 17th is Mississippi State. October 24th, Auburn. And then, as always, their bye week is the week of Halloween because they always play Alabama on the first Saturday in November, which this year happens to be November the 7th. And then on the 14th, they play Texas. Melissa, hey there. Thank you so much for checking in and stopping by on this Saturday evening. And the last 2 games of the season on the 21st of November, it's Tennessee, and the 28th of November, it is Arkansas. So 8 games, and then the bye week, and then the last 4 games. Taylor, glad to have you here. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel tonight. And Melissa and Taylor, I think it's y'all's first time here in the comment section. If it is y'all's first time being here for whatever reason made y'all stop by the channel tonight, thank you very much. Feel free to give the video a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends, tell your family all about the channel. And LSU and Alabama both every year have their bye week before they play each other, just like Georgia and Florida every year before they play each other. They have their bye week. But I've got Alabama going 3-0. I mean, not Alabama, LSU. Can y'all tell I'm tired tonight? I normally don't stumble on words like this, but I'm tired tonight. The SWA show tonight wore me out, which, by the way, was a great show. Had another SWA debut tonight, a young man named Thorson. People from near and far all over still to this day coming to SWA to wrestle. So a great show tonight, but it has wore me out. I am tired. But LSU will go 3-0 in their non-conference games. They play Clemson, Louisiana Tech, and McNeese State. Now, of course, we know that Louisiana Tech and McNeese State are going to be extremely easy. I mean, you might as well play a middle school team. They'll give you as much of a fight. But, you know, the Clemson game, I guess according to some folks, probably it's going to be a close game. I have no idea what the point spread is. Not that it matters. The game is still 5.5 months away. But in my opinion, it should be LSU by 10 or more. I think LSU beats Clemson pretty comfortably. Now, of course, I want to be wrong, but Clemson's just been kind of down the last couple of years. Now, I think they're going to be improved this year, but are they going to be improved that much, that fast? I just don't think so. If these 2 teams played in early November, then I might say Clemson's got a shot. But I know, as they say, everything everything new is old again, or everything old is new again, whatever the saying is. And with Chad Morris, it's kind of the same way. Yeah, he's been there before, but obviously now over a decade later, it's a whole new coaching staff outside of Dabo and all new players. So what Chad Morris did 10, 11, 12 years ago has no bearing on what he's doing currently. But Chad Morris has always said, I'm going to run the ball, and then come time to play, he don't run the ball. But they've got a couple of really good running backs this year, so they should be okay if they run the ball. But I just don't think you bring in a brand new OC and a brand new quarterback and a brand new starting running back in week one and beat LSU. So LSU will beat Clemson pretty handily. So LSU goes 3-0 non-conference against Clemson, Louisiana Tech, and McNeese State. Good evening, Eddie. Glad to have you here. As always, tonight, Eddie, I'm doing my LSU 2026 early season preview show. Now, as far as in conference, now I always say, in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter who I say they and who I say they lose to, because you could, a lot of times on some of these games, you could just take a dartboard and throw darts at it and pick somebody. Really, what matters is the overall record. If I say 8-4 and they go 8-4, it don't matter if I got all four losses wrong. They win 8-4. So the overall record is what's important, not who you beat, who you lost to. But I've got LSU going 7-2 in the SEC. Start to say 6-2, but again, there's 9 conference games this year. I've got them losing to Mississippi State and Texas. I just think Texas is a better team, so they lose that game. Mississippi State was kind of just me picking somebody because Lane Kiffin, throughout his career, most of the time, not all years, but most years, he just has that one bugaboo on the schedule, one bugaboo game where when the season ends, you look back and say, how did Lane Kiffin lose that game? It happens almost every year. So I figured this year, probably, especially with all the changes LSU's got this year, no different. There's going to be a game somewhere that he loses that he shouldn't lose. But Mississippi State's actually making progress and getting better every year. So I was looking at the schedule and I thought, what's one game that they could lose that they shouldn't lose? And I think Kentucky's going to be terrible. I mean, just awful. So I'm not going to pick Kentucky. I don't think Auburn's quite there yet with a brand new, head coach. And if Bama beats them, I'm not sure that LSU's better than Bama. If they are, it's not much better than Alabama. And we know Arkansas's got a brand new head coach, so I don't think it'll be them. You like chickens, Eddie? I like chicken too, but then again, I just like to eat, Eddie, to be honest with you. I just like to eat in general. So I thought, okay, well, who can LSU lose to that they shouldn't lose to? And it was Mississippi State. So I've got them going 7-2 in the SEC, 10-2 overall. Now, if that's the case, they're going to be, borderline top 10. But, if they're 10-2, that's way better than they were last year. Now, they're good enough to go 11-1, and they may go 11-1, but Lane Kiffin just has a tendency most years to lose one game somewhere that he has no business losing. So for that reason, I picked the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. And I think Texas is just better than they are. So I've got LSU 7-2 in the SEC, 10-2 overall with non-conference wins against Clemson, Louisiana Tech, and McNeese State. Any thoughts on any of this? Please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. I got in touch with my inner self today. That's the last time I'll buy single ply toilet tissue from the dollar store. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of three. Tell your friends and family you love them.